Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Sketchbook Sundays. It's a glorious day out there, sunny, daffodils are up, spring is definitely here. And today we, talking of spring, are actually going to be making snowflakes. And the reason being is I've checked the weather forecast and I hear there's some snow on the way. So we're going to make some snowflakes. To start with, what you will need, you'll need a pair of scissors. My scissors are over here, there we go. You'll need your sketchbook, also a piece of paper that's the same size as one of your pages of the sketchbook, just a scrap. You'll be using that and that will be getting messy. You need a selection of objects and things that have a sort of bumpy texture. They need to be flat on their surface. So for instance the orange is flat, I've cut it nice and flat, but it's got a really interesting bumpy texture. Again, I've got a piece of broccoli here. Vegetables are great because they have really interesting surface textures. If you're using anything like a chilli, try not to put your hand or fingers on the end bit where the juices are and then rub your eyes because that can hurt. Keep the stalk on and then you can use that bit whilst holding the stalk. And apart from the vegetables, anything else that is interesting and textured. I've got some netting here. This is a little piece of foam from some packaging. I've also got a lid of a cocoa powder, or you could use tin foil because you can scrunch it up and make some really interesting bumps. And I've also got over here a log because I'm interested in the end surface here because it's got a real nice textural surface. So you want anything that you could create a stamp from and has a texture or a flat surface. You will also need just a little bit of tape, masking tape, sellotape, and some scraps of tissue paper, old paper from recycling, newsprint. This will just protect your sketchbook later down the line, so it's nothing, you don't need fancy paper or anything, just some scrap paper. I'm just going to clear up that, there we go. Now we're going to be using, to make our stamps, which we'll be seeing how we integrate that with the snowflakes, I'm actually going to be using some printing ink on a printing roller because I am a printmaker. It's something many of you may have seen before, but you most likely won't have access to. So if you don't have something like this, it's absolutely fine, it's not a problem. If you have a small ink pad, which you've used with stamps, that's absolutely perfect, that's brilliant. If you have some paint, some slow drying paint, perhaps an oil paint or an acrylic paint, and a sponge, and a basic sponge, and then you can put the acrylic paint or the paint out on a surface and sponge into the paint and then sponge onto your materials, which we'll show you how to do. To start with, sorry, I've just put a load of things all over the sketchbook. To start with, we need to make our a snowflake. To do that, I'm just going to move my sketchbook out of the way. With your scrap piece of paper, you want to fold it in half. That's it. Do you want to do it here? If I move your sketchbook, here you go. Pop that there. There you go, you can go there. So fold it in half. There you go. And then fold it in half again. So I've done that, and I'm turning, folding in half again. And I'm sure many of you may have made these snowflakes. They're a good fun thing to make. That's it. Well done. And then fold it in half again to make. And you're going, ready? Got your folding point there, so you're going that way. Like that. Yeah? And if we turn it now round, you'll see we've got our edge here. Now this is all spare, we don't want any of this. So with your scissors, from the point here, you need to trim and make it into a curve because we're making a circular snowflake. That's it. That's it. Well done. Great. Okay. Now, to make the snowflake, you need to cut little patterns into the edges. So I'm starting with little triangles.
Can we not cut this corner?
You can cut the corner off as well, yeah. You can also cut the actual tip off. And also cut the actual tip off, like that. There we go. Wonderful. Beautiful. That's going to be a nice shape. Just gonna move it. There you go. And just cut lots of different shapes into those edges. Obviously watch with the scissors. Any younger ones might need a little bit of help here, because sometimes it can be tricky cutting through all those layers. You doing okay there? Beautiful. The key thing to remember is you need to leave an edge of the folded areas, because otherwise your snowflake won't fold out again. That's it, perfect. You can also cut, do you want to help getting and do that bit there? There we go. I've done all mine as little triangles. But you can see if I just move the scissors, you can see I've still kept little bits of the edge. Can I help?
Triangles.
You want triangles as well. And down here? Yeah. How's that?
Perfect.
Yeah, do you want to sweep those bits off? And shall we unfold them? There we go. Wonderful. You can see you have to be very delicate when unfolding them. We have a snowflake pattern. Now this in itself is beautiful. Let's help you. There we go. Da, 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 da. Wow, that's a funky one. Look at that. This is really beautiful in itself. But what we're going to do is, if I bring back our sketchbooks, excuse me. Now you wanted to go onto your griddy square page. Let me find my sketchbook's getting rather full now. Oh look, I've got a square page as well. So we've got lovely square pages which we're going to use. Now you need to place your snowflake template on the page, and with the tape, yeah, just need to tape it in position so it doesn't slip around. Just little bits of tape. Make sure you don't tape over any of your holes, because you want the holes, because they are going to be where you make your stamps. There you go. Do you want to hold it and I tape? And we need it.
Perfect places to tape.
I know. One more little bit in that little one down there, and then you taped away. Awesome. There we go. Beautiful. Now, what we're going to do, so once you've got your tape all stuck down and your snowflake is down, this is where you need to get your ink or your paint or your stamping pad out and start selecting some materials. Now I am going to go straight away with, you've got that, the foil. I'm just going to, I'm going to go with the orange. And if you're using a stamp pad or ink, this is where, with the stamp pad it's pretty self-explanatory, you push it down onto the stamp pad. If you've got a sponge, get some paint on your sponge and dab it onto the surface. If you're using vegetables, my advice is to cut them and let them dry overnight, because otherwise they get a bit wet, and especially with acrylic paint it makes a bit of a mess. We're using ink, so it gets rolled on. There you go. Do you want to do your rolling over there? You do it just there because we can clean that. That's it. So you can see it begins to pick up the texture. Now when I'm going to stamp in my snowflake, but I don't want to stamp around the outside just yet. I just want to stamp in these lovely shapes I made. And again, it's the case of just pushing down. Gosh, look at that. Looking beautiful. I'm going to ink that one, sorry. Excuse the stretching hands here. you to press harder with that. Do you ready? Really push. That's it. Oh, cool! Do you want to ink that one again if you want?
No.
No, you're going to do something else. Now the trick is with, oh that'd be good to ink up the foam. The trick is with the stamping and the snowflake is to build up the layers. Don't just do one stamp because it won't define the shapes. You need lots and lots of different things going on in your little gaps. I am going to, oh wow, that looks fun. I'm actually going to use the end of the log here. And I'm going to stamp, in theory, in there. That's probably enough ink. Do a switch. So you can begin to see. Really push that down. Lots of little pushes with your, that's it. Oh, that's all snowy. Look at that. And at the moment, you won't really kind of see what's going on. You'll be thinking, oh, what's going on? Because we're just creating patterns in the snowflake mask.
Can you help me roll up the block?
Roll up the broccoli. Shall we do it together? Actually, you know what? I'm going to push the broccoli into the ink. There you go. Now really give that a good push down. Actually, what could be quite cool, I just thought with the broccoli, if you had it growing out of the snowflake as well, the sides. Because don't forget, where it's going on the snowflake itself, the piece of scrap paper, you're not going to see it. You're trying to make marks in the gaps. So that broccoli, that beautiful broccoli stamping here, you may not see all of that, but for instance, if we inked up the broccoli again and we put it actually on the outside, what about that? No? Can I use the broccoli then? Thank you, I'm going to use the broccoli because, oh sorry, you got it? Because actually I've got some spare holes. You're trying to fill the holes with all the interesting patterns. It's the holes we want. And things like the broccoli and the vegetables do end up really push. Do end up really leaving bits around, so you just have to be aware of that. They end up shedding broccoli bits everywhere, don't they, Granny? There we go. Oh, look at that. Yes. I'm loving this broccoli shape. That's beautiful. How are your holes doing? Are they filling up?
I think they're all full.
Are they? Well, hang on, I'm almost there. I'm just... Because the snowflake is completely... Oh, netting. Yeah, that's definitely done with the roller. The snowflake is symmetrical. So if you are interested in that and you want to go around each hole with the same textures, then this is your opportunity to do so. Now, of course, as I said earlier, we're not working on the outside. But if you wish to, you obviously can. There's no right or wrong rules about this. Now, can I just show something going to the camera? So I've just inked up this lovely netting. It's inky on the back and the front. Where do you want to put it? In that hole there. Pause. Where's your scrap piece of paper? Stop your fingers getting... Yeah. So, when you get something that gets really inky, pop a piece of paper over the top before you push down with your fingers. Because that way, your fingers don't get...
Inky!
Ah. Do you want to lift up? Lovely.
I'm taking it off now.
Hang on, slow down. I'm going to brush off all my various bits of vegetables.
Why can't I?
You can. And then very carefully, I'm just going to wipe my hands because I always end up the inkiest, no matter how hard I try. Ooh. Very carefully peel off your tapes and your mask. And you have a beautiful, if I just blow off more vegetable sediments.
Tape.
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
Snowflakes.
beautiful, beautiful snowflake. If I just hold this one up. How cool is that? Now what you can do, obviously you can make your snowflakes more and more complicated. If for instance you wanted to add to it, you can also start, once your paint is dry, you can also start adding more to your snowflake in the form of drawing. Remember that a snowflake is symmetrical, so you follow a line of symmetry on each one of these lines. So you can draw a line down the middle and start adding to your snowflake, and these bits can be coloured in. So you can begin to see you can create some really cool effects. So you're mixing the stamping with some drawing. What do you think? What do you like? Are you going to add any drawing to yours?
I don't know.
You don't know. So there we go.
Mine's quite dark.
Yours is very dark. You had that lovely, lovely foam, didn't you? You added. There's some really, really cool things you could do. And obviously you've got quite a few, it'd be different on a blank page, and all these things you can start colouring in. I hope you enjoyed, and let's hope snow is on the way, because snow's quite good fun. Cold,